killer by passion burning. Woohoo! You feel that? Hey, very nice kick. I'm on top of the world.
Killing spree! Mega kill!
You feel that? Ha!
You have slain an enemy! Launch attack! Legendary!
Ha!
Double kill!
Ha!
Legendary!
I'm on top of the world. Hey,
First blood!
Download for free. Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, or not welcome back, but welcome to the Female Esports League, the FSL for the Mobile Legends Bang Bang tournament, and this is gonna be for the girls in Myanmar. Once again, my name is Aris, and I am honored to be casting for this one-off tournament. Remember, this doesn't lead anything to circuit, it's to prepare the girls for the upcoming circuit that has been put on hold because of the whole COVID-19 situation. But without further ado, I think the players are ready. So before we go into the draft, I want to give a big shout out to not only FSL but Dreamcore, Super Solid, as well as Yahoo for being our official partners and sponsors for this event. And I think the players are already ready. In fact, they've already got the draft started, so let's just dive straight into it. Game 1 will be between Nirvana as well as Reborn. Nirvana's gonna be taking up the blue side, and then we have Reborn on the red. And looks like we're gonna see Nirvana ban out the Claude and the Link. Obviously, Claude super big in the tri-lane meta, or not tri-lane, but the tri-mid, or what people would call the hyper carry. You know, you usually see the 5 masks come out. If you're really good, you buy the 5 masks. If you're not that good, you know, MM doesn't really pick up a mask. The mask works really well if you know how to distance yourself when the MM needs to pick up the farm. But coming into Reborn's draft, banning out the Nana and Valor. You know, Valor, you have those pale flames, you have the flame shots, you have his ulti, you know, immune to CC. Really pesky to deal with early game. And then going to late game, he has a ton of damage, as well as the triple stacks on his passive. So it's no wonder why they want to take the Valor out. Just a heads up, Zas, as well as I do believe one other hero is actually taken out. So it's actually Zas and Sylvana. So both Zas and Sylvana are auto banned. We will not see Zas as well as Sylvana, obviously because of the bugs that Sylvana puts out. So it's no wonder that the admins have decided to take her out of this game. So we will not be seeing those two heroes, in case you're wondering where they are. Carry, Diggy, as well as a grab pickup for Nirvana. Really huge amount of damage early game. You know, you have Diggy with the auto alarm bombs, and then you have Grok with the power nature as well as the wild charge. So two heroes that are really good and contributing to the early game damage. And then going into the late game, you know, you have Grok that's quite a tanky frontliner, and then you have Diggy that can put reverse time over there just to help the team get out of sticky situations that, you know, maybe if the Selena or the Hylos catches them. Diggy ultimates also gives them a shield, so that does help in team fight. Reborn's gonna pick up the Selena with the Abyssal Arrow. It's gonna be worrying for Nirvana, given that, you know, they do have a Grok, which is good, right? Because, you know, Grok, when he uses the power of nature, is kind of immune to CC, so he can actually just tank up the Abyssal Arrow. Although, you know, the best case scenario here would be for the entire team of Nirvana to dodge it. Herphrodite picking up the Kimi. I mean, Kimi is one of those heroes where she benefits a lot from the hyper carry, because she does get that glowing one really early into the game. She can then build into Blade of Despair. She can go to Genus 1 if she wants to. She can go into more aggressive build on the physical portion if she also wants to. So there's a lot of options open up for Reborn with this draft. They pick up the Uranus as well as the, I do believe it's a Hylos. So Hylos definitely going to go mid along with Selena and Kimi. So I don't think we'll see Kimi go mage build, although it's still possible. They ban out the Jawhead because, you know, that's one of those heroes where she can dive in the backline. The Vela is actually banned out, so they could have picked up the Atlas, but they want to pick up the Uranus here, so they had to pick up another off laner. I think Minzeta's a pretty good pick. I don't know. I feel like
Minzetar.
the draft has a lot of damage in a team fight, and a bulk of their setup will come from the Selena for the gang to work off because of the Abyssal Arrow when it comes down to the side lanes. Yes, you do have Minzeta that does have the Spear of Glory, so I think that's where they wanna initiate from, either through the Abyssal Arrow or Spear of Glory. Nirvana's gonna complete their lineup with a Guinevere as well as a Leomord pickup. I think Guinevere isn't too bad. I mean, they banned out the Xbox, so obviously they're feeling really good about giving away that, you know, Uranus draft. I gotta say, I'm pretty surprised that Uranus wasn't picked up earlier. I mean, if you ask me, I think Nirvana's draft just looks a lot better. They have both the Diggy as well as the Guinevere. The fact that, you know, Diggy can help with the CC if anyone does get caught with the Abyssal Arrow does put them in a little bit of advantage. I'm trying to figure out where the damage is gonna come from. For the side of Reborn early game, because yes, Kimi does have a really huge early game spike, but she does lack the punch if she doesn't go into late game well. So that's the only portion that I'm a little bit worried with them.
Smash them. All troops deployed.
But here we go, first game of the day, Nirvana versus Reborn. Remember, it's a best of 3 series, and we'll be having 2 games for today. First one being the game that you're looking in front of your screen right now, and then the second one would actually be Impunity Pixies against Impunity Divas. So Impunity having both teams faced up in the first game. It's a little bit unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. And looks like we're gonna start with a little bit of aggression of the Leomord at the top. Guinevere gonna be in bot lane up against the Minzeta. I gotta say, I actually do prefer the Guinevere's early game advantage from Bisa. You can see she's putting a lot of pressure. She's taking a Purify. In fact, you see 3 Purify on the draft of Nirvana, and that's no wonder, right? And obviously trying to avoid all this CC coming off the Hylos. You have the Minzeta, then you also have the Abyssal Arrow to kind of worry from this Selena. So that's no wonder why they had 3 Purifies. A little bit of harassment down the bot lane. You can see they actually do want to force this one. I think Reborn should be able to get this. It's gonna be an easy takeout from the bot lane, meanwhile top side. Nirvana having a little bit of difficulty against this Uranus. I mean, it's super tanky. Not easy to take down as well, but they might be able to get the first blood. Yes, they do. It's the Leomord that picked up. Oh, she takes too many turret shots. She's gonna go down. So 1-for-1 trade.
Initiate retreat.
And both teams should be feeling pretty good, pretty on point. 1 minute 30 seconds. You know, having the first tower down. It's always a good objective. Really good timing to hit. But it looks like we do have Reborn putting a little bit of pressure down to mid lane. Good rotation from both ends. No mistake me so far, but that bang down the middle. Yeah, that wall is going to be an issue for the side. Or for Reborn to deal with. Really good wall coming up from Empress. You know, set up the gang. You got that early game damage with the power nature as well as the auto bombs like I picked off. Carry will pick up that easy kill or the easy assist. Meanwhile, bot lane once again, Velvet not doing really well when it comes down to that 1v1. Really needs a lot of support from the rest of the teammates. Mrs. is one of those heroes that don't really do too much early game. Like, he's one of those heroes that does well roaming wise, but you can see that he loses out so much. So they kind of trade lanes here. Maybe a little bit too late, but you know, not it's not too much. They're not too far behind. Just a 1k goal lead, which I think is definitely recoverable if they can get either the turtle or a good gank here. Pick up the healing buff, and that's gonna allow them to start up the turtle. But they do want to put a little bit of a defense onto the Guinevere. Good map knowledge over there. Selena not being able to land the Abyssal Arrow. Looks like we're gonna see a pause come up to the side of Reborn. So 3 minutes 40 seconds in, you don't really see too much yet coming up from both teams. I mean, yes, they did manage to trade one tower, but no hard ganks coming in so far. And this has been the case, you know, for most games, especially if you want to play the hyper carry meta, where you really need to buy a lot of time, or rather not buy a lot of time, but you just want to get your MM up online as soon as possible. Look at the itemizations as of now. You don't really see too big of a difference between both the MMs. Carry and Kimi pretty much around the same level. Team fight going down in the jungle. We kind of missed that fight over there. And I think it was actually another kill coming in. Looks like they want to go for the pause. Not sure why I'm just not pausing there. So it looks like, yep, the pause will come up. And I think Reborn is slightly behind in terms of the rotation, although they did manage to get the turtle there. This is why you look at net worth as of now. You know, both teams are pretty similar. And they both managed to trade once again another kill on both ends. This time around, the Uranus, or rather the Hylos going down, or Uranus going down the top side early in the game, and then you got the Hylos getting ganked in the mid. But this time around, they did manage to get back with a Digi kill. So both teams pretty much still equal. And I think this is where Reborn has to be a little bit more aggressive. They need Kido to be landing her shots, especially those Abyssal Arrows, because like I said, they kind of lack that initiation. It's not like, you know, they have a lot of CCs compared. Yes, they do have decent more CC, right? They have hard CCs like, you know, the Missed Hapu, they have the Abyssal Arrow, they have the Hylos stun, they have the Uranus slow, but they are not reliable stuns. They are all skill shots, which, you know, if Nirvana are very careful in terms of positioning, and you really see how good they are in terms of in-game skills, then you can really avoid them easily. So they need a more impactful initiation coming up from the side of Reborn. Whereas on the side of Nirvana, if you look at the CC that they have, it's very straightforward, right? You got Guinevere going with the Violet Requiem, you have Digi with the reverse time, you know, you have so much reliable CCs on the side of Nirvana that, you know, they don't really have to worry too much about missing the skills, right? It's more of a case of, can they get in range? And for the most part, it looks like they can. In fact, they're doing a really good job at isolating a lot of the members on the side of Reborn, especially when it comes down to tower takes. You can see bot lane already down to almost a slither of health. You know, Guinevere's just gonna hold the mid. Well, 4 members on the side of Nirvana is gonna go up to top. It looks like they want to force the mid. They do get it, but they will have to back off pretty soon. Empress showing his presence in lane. Another Abyssal Arrow not gonna land its mark. And Nirvana will give a little bit of a breathing space over to the side of Reborn. Aphrodite here getting put back by the reverse time, but Yami's gonna rotate down into mid. Looks like it's gonna be a 10-man in the middle of the map, although both sides really hesitant to go for a fight. I mean, Empress really dropped to half health. I do believe a Purify was burned there by Call Me P. Kind of a panic press, but I don't think they will be seeing any team fight any time soon. I don't think the next minute we'll see any team fight. Mizita now gets a little bit of a breathing space. Like I mentioned, in the top lane, it's going to be able to farm up a little bit. Looks like they want to go for Endless Battle, which is a really good item, right? It's cheap, good stats, decent amount of contribution, especially to individual stats. On the Mizita, you get a little bit of a regen, a little bit of cooldown. Next, you know, basic attack does give the pure damage, so It's a really good item for your off-laners to have. So it looks like it's going to be another turtle uncontested from Reborn. But Nirvana still trying to push the objectives. They kind of lost that momentum in the early game. And, well, things will look a little bit scary. Especially if the Kimi does get a little bit of space to farm. She's already completed her glowing wand. This is where Kimi's damage is, I wouldn't say at its peak. Obviously, you know, the BOD will come after the glowing wand, but they should have more damage as compared to what Nirvana can put out in the team fight now. And if anything, it should be the case of Reborn trying to force a fight. They're not being able to catch out, and this is because Nirvana's just rotating way quicker. You look at that, they're already pushing down the bot lane. They should be able to get this one.
Initiate retreat.
It looks like whatever Reborn lost in the earlier part of the game, they've already come back. They're now 1k up. Look at the gold swing right there. A little bit worried for Nirvana, especially if they let this continue. And look at that, they're trying to rotate in 5, which means that gives Uranus the space to push down bot. I mean, in the earlier part of the game, they were looking to be always ahead of Reborn, and they were doing so well at doing that. But now, 8 minutes and 40 seconds in, it looks like they kind of lost momentum. You know, they don't really know how to cope with the rotation coming out from Reborn. And what's the worst part is that Kimi is just going to get stronger once she gets the BOD. And obviously Carrie's a really good late gamer. The question is, can they buy enough time and hold the Kimi back?
Lord,
at least until the carry comes online. Longevity coming up onto the Uranus. That's going to provide even more sustain. The reverse time will come up. Violent Rancor knocks 2 of them, and the Uranus might go down over here. Some of the steed, and they are going for the wrong target. Leomord in the middle of all of them, and they are being kept alive just solely by the sustain. And now this is where Kimi will turn the fight. Look at that, so much range on that Kimi. I don't think they will be able to get out of this. She still has her ultimate, and that's going to charge up. That's going to be a double kill. Although Digi will have the immortality burned away. Good timing on that team fight. 9 minutes and we're at 10 minutes now. And they can go for the Lord. Good fight coming up from Reborn. Kind of forced that fight, even though the Digi initiated with the reverse time. And especially with the follow-up with the Violent Requiem. That big CC coming out from King's Landing, especially on the Mincetar's ultimate. That was really good. It caught all of them. And that just disabled so many skills that Nirvana had, especially, you know, the huge CCs like Wild Charge. You know, Leomord had to kind of reposition himself to actually find another angle to go into the backline, which gave enough time for Aphrodite to put all the damage down in front, and he was just ripping through not only the Grog, but the Leomord as well in the later part of the fight. And this is where, like I said, things get scary. Uranus now leading the front. He has the HP to do so. They're just gonna burn the Digi right through. Guinevere might even go down here. It's gonna be a double kill for the Kimi, who's currently 6-0 with 1 assist. Another stun, and that shot will land. Wild Charge now to delay a little bit of time, but I'm sure Empress will go down. King's Landing comes out as well just to force that tier 3 turret. They can pick 2 more up. Gonna be in the middle, tier 3 going down. And 22 more seconds before the Grog comes up, and they can actually go for the end. If the Abyssal Arrow lands on the carry, it's gonna be all over. Leomord will buy some time by sacrificing himself. They look like they want to push things towards the finish line. And Violet Record once again catching 4 members. This time around, she does get Aphrodite, which is the target that they wanted all along. And that's going to delay the plans of Reborn, although they did manage to walk away with 3 tier 3s. The guy is just going to go back to heal. So good effort coming out from Nirvana to buy 1 more fight. And good Violet Raccoon coming for Hera as well to land on 3 members on the side of Reborn, and especially picking Herphrodite out, who was a little bit out of position, if I may add that. That being said, after having that good team fight and then going to Lord Take, Reborn find themselves 10k up in terms of goal lead. Got Ice Cream Wand already completed on Kimi as well. Really important items coming up. Athena Shield coming up on the High Loss, which is going to help against the D, as well as the Grediver, who did manage to complete her Concentrated Energy. So if I'm not wrong, we should see a BOD come up. NOD rather, a Necklace of Durance, come up for either the Selena or the Kimi. Although, if you were to ask me, I think, Selena should pick it up. So Winter Truncheon going to be built up on the Kimi as well. Herphrodite does want to make sure that she doesn't get caught out once again. So the Winter Truncheon is definitely going to help with the Grediver's ultimate. So once the Grediver goes in the Violet Vacuum, all Kimi has to do is just press the Winter Truncheon, and she should be able to walk out of there alive. And obviously you have the Uranus and the High Loss is going to babysit her. So she doesn't even have to worry too much about positioning. As long as the High Loss is there, they should be able to have enough, HP for the Kimi to actually stay alive in the fight. So obviously Carrie and Kimi, both the key targets on the opponent's side. Kido also yet to die, and I know I did pinpoint out, I rather put a little bit of pressure on Kido to land her Blizzard Arrows, but you saw in the last few fights she did absolutely well, landing on the Lil one, landing it onto the carry, landing onto the Grediver as well. So really good upbeat momentum that Nirvana, or rather Reborn, is carrying into the late game. So net worth kinda stalling for now. But that's because, Reborn's pretty much got max build on every single member, although a couple of the supports do have to get rid of the must, or rather if they want to build the tier 3 must as possible, they are looking for one major item before the fight. Magic Potion already coming up onto the Kimi, and she's full slaughtered. Pity she can transfer gold into her rest of her members, but with Lord on their side, looks like they want to go for the final push. Should be an easy game unless Nirvana can pull out something huge here, and it's all down to Hera. If she can land a good Violet Record onto Kimi before she gets her Winter Truncheon off, if they can deal enough burst damage, then it's good. But you can see the early game advantage of the Digi as well as the Grok starting to beat it down right now. The damage not really mattering so much now. The Kagaya and Yam is just standing in their face, just soaking up all the damage, and I'm pretty sure this is GG. Lord still at half HP. Violet Vacuum onto the backline once again, catching out the Kimi, but Kimi just being kept alive by the rest of the team, and that's gonna be an early GG coming up for Reborn. 10 minutes in, and they close out a critical game 1. Not gonna say that was an easy game, but it was a pretty straightforward one for Reborn. Yes, they had a little bit of a rough start coming into the first half of the game, but they did really well coming into the middle of the fight. You can see they took a fight really well. They managed to get the Lord, and from the Lord, they with just one Lord take, they did manage to secure 3 tier 3 turrets. So that was pretty much what set the win up for them. And then, coming into the later part of the fight, as long as they didn't make too much of major mistakes, which they didn't, they did manage to win the game. Magic Glaive also managed to complete onto Selena, which did help against absolutely no one, because, no one on the side of Nirvana had any sort of HP to burn through except for the Grok, who had the Athena Shield. Maybe that's why Selena picked up the Magic Glaive. But with that being said, congratulations to Reborn, managed to pick up that crucial game 1 like I mentioned. And obviously, they must be feeling good going into this best of 3. We'll go for a short 5 to 10 minutes break, let the players reset for a bit. Obviously, they can swap sides, so we can see Reborn come onto the blue, and then Nirvana go onto the red. But yep, once again, a big shout out to Dreamcore, Super Solid, as well as Yahoo TV for helping us out at being the partners and sponsors for this tournament. Remember, this is a one-off tournament, and we're gonna give away 1,000 diamonds to both third and fourth placing. Second place gets 2,000 diamonds, and then obviously the grand champions of this particular Myanmar tournament will get 4,000 diamonds. So shout out to our sponsors for helping us with that as well. So we'll go for a short break. When we are back, we'll bring you game 2 between Reborn as well as Nirvana. I'll see you right after this.
Blast him harder! I'm gonna slaughter that pumpkin Franco myself!
Time to look alive, lads! Let's send Bane and his freaks back to the bottom of the sea! I can't bloody swim! My suffering brothers and sisters, you will be free.
Blimey! That's our own heart! Boys, we've got a big booty to take!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FSL MLBB for the Myanmar competition. You know, I'm just gonna clear things up right now. I see a lot of people in the chat, you know, they're calling for the pause in Bruce game. Hey, I don't make the pauses, the admins do. So I'm just gonna stay out of this. You know, all the best to the teams in the second game. Obviously, for those who watched the first game, Reborn actually managed to win game 1. So they are going to swap sides. Reborn's going to be on the blue side, and then you got Nirvana on the red side. So let's just go straight in draft because players are already ready. And here we go. We're going to see Reborn pick up the rather ban out the Valor as well as the Nana. So a similar draft to what they had coming to the first game. Like I said, you know, Nana with the Molina as well as the Blitz. It's really painful. She has decent CC. She's got Molina's gift, which means she can actually run away when she dies. So just a very pesky hero to deal with. So let's just take her out. You know, Reborn don't want to do anything about it. They go with the first pick on the Kimi, something that they're really comfortable with. You saw how well they did come into game 1. Yes, they had a little weak early game, but that was because Diggy as well as Grok had a lot of damage in the first phase. But once Kimi managed to pick up a glowing wand and she goes into a BOD, and then, you know, the rotation from Reborn started to outpace Nirvana, and there was just snowballing effect coming in. All they had to do was just win one team fight near the pit, the Lord's pit. They managed to get the Lord, they pushed out 3 turrets, and then they just ended the game from there. Nirvana's gonna pick up the Ceylon as well as the Kufra. I think, honestly, a Farsa would actually be good for Nirvana, seeing how Reborn likes to play that. And they like to keep a little bit of a distance, right? They have the Kimi, and then they have the Uranus as well as the Hylos that helps the Kimi to put their opponents at range. If they stack onto the Kimi, then you have this Hylos Uranus that stacks the damage on top, and they try to actually stun them out, followed by the Selena's arrow. But this time around, Nirvana says, you know what, let's take out the Selena. We also want to ban away the Claude. So instead of taking out away the Selena, they replace it with a Gushan, which is entirely different to what they had in the first game. Because if you look at Selena, she's a really good support. She has a ton of damage in terms of burst. Same goes for Gushan, but she doesn't really have the CC. So it looks like Reborn want to go a little bit more aggressive with this lineup. They want to go for the back line, have something with a lot more burst in terms of damage. So they are very comfortable for confident for second game. I want to see what the last 2 is before I make a little bit of my prediction. But I think if I'm Reborn, I want to ban out an MM here. I think either a Granger or a Bruno would be good to ban out, because Nirvana is looking to match the amount of pacing that Reborn have in their draft. You know, Kimi, like I said, once she picks up the glowing wand, she becomes very dangerous. So on Nirvana's end, they need an MM that can match it. You know, in this case, either a Bruno or a Granger would be good. You know, if either hero does get their first item, then they become really impactful. But nope, they ban out the Jawhead, which is fine as well. You know, take out someone that can go for the Kimi, which makes a lot of sense, kind of similar to what they banned out in the first game. So Reborn, they're being consistent in the draft. Nothing too much in terms of changes. I think they might want to pick up the Uranus again, which if I'm Nirvana, man, if you don't ban the Uranus, you gotta pick him up. It's just too much to deal with. They ban the Atlas, which is fine. I think that's fine as well, given that Reborn needs another tank to go with. And I think Reborn might go for the Grog. They might just go for the Grog. So yep, Nirvana will pick up the Bruno. I'm pretty surprised to see Uranus not picked up here. I think a Uranus as well as maybe another fighter will do the job, but in that case, the second fighter has to play something like an Xbox to tank up for the Kimi. Because at this point of time, yes, you have the Gushan as well as the Diggy, but both heroes are very, very paper. So yes, the Chow would do the same thing. It's kind of similar to what the Grok can put in front. Decent amount of damage, don't really need too much items. He has the Chikundo as well as Way of the Dragon, so decent amount of CC as well. Good draft overall. I think they have a quite decent draft. The only worrying thing about Reborn is that now, instead of having another frontliner like a Hylos, they need the Chow. So I gotta say it's still pretty similar to what they had in game 1 because of the Kimi. End of the day, as long as she gets the glowing one, she becomes quite a scary marksman to handle. Nirvana, they need another fighter. They need someone to pair up against either the Chow or the Uranus, in which case there's not really much left on the board. They go for the Grog, so this is looking to be a very passive comp. In fact, I don't think they should go for the hyper carry here. They can actually go for the 1-2-2, in which this case, you know, put the Leomord in the off lane, and then put the Bruno as well as the Grog, either the Grog or the Kufra, which I suggest going for the Kufra just to help the Bruno into the CC to be in the bot lane, and then put the Grog as well as the Cicelon down to mid, which is still pretty decent. You know, I wouldn't say that they will definitely lose out to the 1-3-1. We have seen cases of teams, especially in high tier ranked games, where the 1-2, if they can hold off the game for a significant period of the early game, then they can actually, you know, buy enough time for the MF to go toe to toe with in team fights. So yeah, I think the 1-2 definitely does look more suitable for Nirvana as compared to going for the 1-3-1, because they don't really have a decent fighter to match against either the Uranus or the Chow.
Welcome.
Essentially,
to
they
Mobile
only have the
Legends.
Leomord.
5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them.
So like I mentioned, game 2 coming up against, or rather between Reborn and Nirvana. Looks like once again pause. Like I said, we gotta wait for the admin. You know what? I'm just gonna step in here, and looks like they want to pause. I'll just go for the pause here. I know the admins are working really hard to coordinate with the rest of the team, so I'm just gonna hand them in case chat goes wild again. So remember to mention in the chat which team you're supporting, and as well as which team you think is gonna win that 4,000 diamonds in first place. And we're just gonna wait for the teams to come back up. But yeah, draft looking to be a really good once again for the side of Reborn. Although this time round they don't really have too much of a front line. I think Chow is pretty decent, but you know, he's not like a Grog, right? He's not a Grog, he's not a high loss. You know, it's very different as compared to the previous game. So I think if they can play aggressively enough in the opening stages, then yes, I think they might go for a remake. Okay, so yep, it looks like they are going for a remake. So remake time for both teams. I'm sure that they will go for the same draft over there. So Reborn, for those who actually missed out, Reborn's picked up the Kimi, they picked up the Diggy, the Gushan, the Chow, as well as the Uranus. Whereas for the side of Nirvana, they pick up their Sicilian, they pick up the Kufra, the Leomord, the Bruno, and the Grog. Which I think, you know, in game 2, Nirvana, they have a more balanced out composition as compared to game 1. Game 1, they were looking to hopefully have the Diggy as well as the Grog combo to carry into the late game for the carry, but didn't really work out so well. Like early game, they did really well because they got the first blood onto the Uranus. They managed to pick up the top tower, but then they completely lost momentum coming to the late game, which we saw how well Reborn did. Once, you know, they know the Kimi's strength, they know that once she gets her first item, we go aggressive, let's go take the team fights, let's pressure them in the jungle, force them to mistakes, contest them for red buff. We know we have the range because of the Kimi as compared to the carry, who, yes, she's a marksman, she has range, but she's not a Kimi, right? Kimi's from level 1 has an insane amount of range, and there's a reason why when Kimi first came out, you know, Moontan had to go through so many patches to just nerf her over and over again, because at the end of the day, the threat of Kimi is her range, which is why I think, you know, which is why I kind of recommended that Nirvana actually picked up a Fasa, because Fasa can match her range. She has the Feather Airstrike. She's got a ton of range. She's got CC. She's got a lot of burst damage. You know, so that's just my opinion. but it looks like Nirvana, they really trust in their MM picks. They trust that they can pull through with that Sicilian, which is pretty similar to Fasa if you think about it, right? He has the range, he has the burst damage, he has the sustain. So we'll see how that works out. But for now, we are going into a remake. Remember, they are going to be playing the same heroes. And for those who are wondering, why is there no, Nirvana? Why is there no Zaz? Although Zaz is kind of like an off-meta hero right now. Well, simple reason. Nirvana as well as Zaz will be also banned out from this competition. So we will definitely not see these two heroes getting picked up for the entirety of this matchup. So we're waiting for the teams to ready up, and then hopefully we can go into it, and we will start the game right after this advertisement.
The warm feel of my passion burning! Woohoo! You feel that? Hey, very nice kick! I'm on top of the world!
Killing spree! Mega kill!
You feel that? Ha!
You have slain an enemy! Launch attack! Legendary!
Ha!
Double kill!
Ha!
Legendary!
I'm on top of the world! Hey!
First blood!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Alright, so it looks like we are back. Players did manage to restart the game after the 3 minutes. They surrendered. And now we are back into the same exact drafting process. Yep, so they are picking the same exact heroes as they did. I'm not too sure where at which point in time the draft did the player lag. So we might see a different draft perhaps. But for now, it looks like everything is still in order. We do see the Kimi, the Diggy, as well as the Grog pick. Nirvana will pick up the Kufra, the Sicilon, as well as the Bruno. So no changes so far. Jawhead getting banned out. I think it should be the same. I don't think there will be any differences in the ban. So obviously, if everything's the same, Reborn will then pick up the Uranus as well as the Chow. And then for Nirvana, they will pick up the Leomord as well as the Grog. Or not the Grog. So it looks like Reborn pick up the Grog. So a little bit of a change there. Alright, so that's the change. I kind of missed out the Grog there. Reborn pick up the Grog instead of a Chow or Uranus. So no Gushan pick. The Gushan was kind of unintended. So it looks like they won't be having a Gushan this time round. Well, this does change the draft quite a bit. This time round, Nirvana do ban on the Uranus. And I gotta say, definitely does make a lot more sense. Because the Gushan pick, like I said, it's really different as compared to Selena. Yes, you have burst damage. But, Gushan is not really a support. You want the support to be in a hyper carry, and in this case Reborn, they pick up the Grog to kind of go along with that try rotation down mid, and they still ban out the Jawhead, which is, like I said, pretty straightforward. They don't want the Jawhead jumping onto the backline to do any tossing, any disruption to their lineup. And it looks like Nirvana will go ahead with the Uranus ban. They pick up the Xbox. And if they want to, they will pick up the Leomord, which I'm pretty sure they will. Reborn here looking to pick up 2 fighters for their split push, and looks like it's going to be once again the Guinevere and the Badang. So this time around, pretty similar to what we saw in the previous game, right? I mean, end of the day, both heroes kind of fulfill what they need to do in terms of pushing the lane. I do have my own opinions on Badang. I think Badang is one of those heroes where, you know, in terms of pushing the lane, doesn't really do too well. Yes, he does have the ultimate. It does hurt a lot, but you know, it's not a Uranus. You know, he's not able to like cut the wave as well as Uranus. He's not able to really do as much of a split push, but what he does is contribute a ton of damage, especially with the fist crack as well as the CC in fist break. So I think it's still pretty decent, but there is a slight difference in the way the Badang is gonna fit into this draft, because it's just not gonna be the same as Uranus. But that being said, I still think Reborn's draft is pretty dangerous, especially if they can get the glowing wand to the Kimi. If they do push with the right timings, they can out-rotate Nirvana. Nirvana this time around, for the last of the draft, instead of pick up the Grog because, you know, the restart, they pick up the Hylos, which I think is pretty good. I mean, in the previous game, Hylos did really well for Reborn, and Nirvana is looking to do the same with the Hylos this time around, to be sitting on top of the Bruno. And I'm really excited for the Sicilon to be in this game, because this is, I think, been the longest time since we've seen any Sicilon in FSL. I've seen a lot of Sicilons getting banned out, not so much in getting picked, because, you know, when he first came out, he was just broken. Not many people knew how to deal with the Sicilon. And obviously, you know, with his moonlit walls, it was just so hard to catch him out. But this time around, it looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit of aggression down in the mid lane. Not so much, I would say. Kind of mistaken there. Oh, Kimi did manage to steal that buff away, and that's going to be level 3 for Kimi, as compared to Sicilon, who's only level 2. Well, if we compare likes for like, it's actually a Bruno versus the Kimi, and obviously, you know, Kimi is definitely going to be pushing way faster. Looks like top lane Kido almost going down. They're trying to suck the Empress into a deep rotation. And boy, is this a bit of a matchup for the Empress. Krufra off lane. My, this is going to be a rough lane for the Krufra, especially when he's trying to defend that lane. Look at that. He doesn't really have much in terms of basic damage. Yes, he has the magic ball, but other than that, you know, he can't clear the wave as fast as the Badang. So this is actually a good matchup for the side of Reborn. Meanwhile, Xbox versus Guinevere is definitely going to have a lot more in terms of like even ground, in a way. Guinevere not being able to land that magic thump. And here comes the pressure coming in. Lynx now out of mana. And that's going to allow Velvet out. Flame shot coming up from almost going down. The Hylos nearly picks him down. Meanwhile, here comes the quick rotation from Reborn. They will get the Digi down, but they definitely do want to pick up this Hylos. Energy comes up for Herphrodite, and she will get the return kill 1-for-1 on both sides. Although that being said, they did manage to pick up the first blood onto the Xbox. So pretty good trade for Reborn. And not only that, if they stick around longer and they play really aggressive, they can actually push the bot lane if they want, because Bruno's already shown himself bot in the middle, which means Hylos should be nearby. But no, they will reset. Interesting thing about the bot lane is that both heroes do not need mana. So that will come down to the individual skill play as to how, you know, they're going to outwit one another. And obviously we saw Sicilon with a ton of damage, especially with the bad impact, as well as the sanguine claws, and he has the bad feast as well. So if they want, they have quite a bit of range to deal with the Kimi this time around as compared to the previous game. Like I said, I would have preferred the Fasa because of the mobility as well as the, I would say, stun. But you know, the Sicilon is proving to be working pretty decently right now. Xbox can actually use his ultimate if he wants. Oh no, no last insanity right there. Wild charge coming out for the Grog to buy some time. Flame shot from Yami to push Bruno back. And both teams will not be able to do anything. Although that did buy a little bit of time for the Guinevere to actually push the bot lane. So at the end of the day, Reborn still did manage to come up on top of that engagement. Kimi trying to find that last shot with the maximum charge onto the Bruno. Kind of misses Mako there. Lynx is dropping really low. The pool did manage to come through. Last Insanity will pick up the Digi. But look at that. Kami almost went down. And she is thankfully still alive. Lynx as well. And going over to the top lane, you got Kido still up against Empress. The battle between the crew front and Badang still going on. Just as I mentioned, Reborn will be able to push the top lane. And this is where D is just so annoying. Look at that. She's just keeping Empress out of range, trying to harass this Kufa. Who pretty much would have went down if Nirvana did not rotate in time. So Bruno and Harlow's going to make sure that the Kufa stays up. Although they did not manage to salvage that tier 1 tower in the top side. Nirvana trying to do their best to push the mid lane as much as possible. One more hit from the turret, should be able to get it. And I was just about to make the point that Yami is just doing a really good job on this Diggy. And the irritating part about the Diggy is that even after she goes down, she's still able to stick by her team and can respawn on the spot. So she's able to just go into the next team fight if it happens right there when she respawns. But now Empress dropping really low, and that's gonna be a huge flame shot coming up from Velvet. We'll be able to get the kill onto the Kufra. And Turtle is up, which means if Reborn want to take the fight, now is a good time for them. Well, all the huge CCs are up. And now they're doing a good job of this team fight. Look at that. Kagaya just staying on the back line with this Grog. They may be able to pick up the high loss. Yes, they will. And look at that. The flicker coming out of a Aphrodite to get out of the range of the Kufa. Really good job there. Maximum charge to burn that Bruno down. And once again, another good team fight coming in. And look at the goal lead right now. They did manage to... I mean, they did manage to pick up the turtle, which is fine. But at the end of the day, they still pick up a lot of goal lead. And not only that, they also are pressuring down the mid with this giant wave that's coming up. Top side once again. Guinevere pushing down the bot lane by herself. No pressure there, no resistance. And she's already built. And pretty much, I think she's going to go into the glowing wand. She can actually go into it if she wants. But it looks like Genius Wand should be the next item for her. So maybe the concentrated energy is going to be on hold for now. Going a little bit more aggressive. You know, maybe to help with pushing out the waves a lot quicker. Maybe it does help in team fights because they realize that maybe they don't need so much to stay in this team fight. What they need is more damage. Empress did manage to complete the blade armor, so that does help with a little bit when it comes to tanking up the damage. But obviously, he goes right in. That's good. Tyrant's Revenge on the mark. And now they're going in. Look at that. The magic walls comes true, but the Tickle Fist comes out just in time. And that's the huge CC coming out from Kido as well as the wall. Oh no, magic time onto the back line, followed by the Violent Requiem. And they pick up 4 members on the side of Nirvana. And now they not only pick up the middle turret, they might be able to pick up the Xbox as well. Aqua P flickers in the wrong direction. Aphrodite should be able to get this one on the map, and it's gonna be a team wipe, 5-1. And the one that they lost was a Diggy, which means, you know, they didn't really lose much in the fight. And now the Kimi will be able to pick up the turtle as well, so that's just gonna be even more goal lead. And speaking of goal lead, you know, you've got Reborn with 7k, or rather 8k now, in terms of the lead that they have. Obviously, you got Bruno, who's yet to complete his first major item. Yes, he did manage to complete his jungle item, but you know, he really needs that endless battle up online. Not only to help with the damage, but to help with the cooldown. And we've got Reborn now coming to a standstill. They want to contest for this red buff, and yes, they will. They do manage to get it onto the Kimi. So once again, taking away another, I want to say big objective, but still taking away, you know, a little bit of a goal from Nirvana, which is always, you know, the thing that you're looking to do as a team. You know, put a little bit of pressure, you know, put a little bit of take away a little bit of goal lead away from them. And now you've got the Blade of Despair coming out of the Kimi, and you've got, you know, the Badang managing to complete the golden stuff as well on top of the Demon Hunter Sword. So this is where the damage of Reborn just rises exponentially. The next team fight is definitely not going to look a lot pretty for Nirvana. But they're doing a good job. Diggy almost going down as well. Once again, Last Insanity comes out from the Xbox on the correct character, but not enough damage over there. Sisalon will go down, and they lose their long range threat. Not much of a space for the Xbox to run away as well. Aiko will go down. It's a 2-for-1 trade once again. And now with Turtle up, it looks like Reborn will try to go for the finishing blow. Emperor's trying to reach the Granny Rail, but just slightly out of reach. And looking at itemizations right now, you got Immortality coming with the Kufra. Obviously, that's a really huge item. Queen's Wing coming with the Xbox to help with the sustain. But look at the difference. You know, if you compare the Kimis compared to the Bruno, right, as well as the support. I mean, even if you look at the supports, right, you compare the Digi as compared to the Kufra, or even the Hylos. The Digi's already got that fleeting time. And she's got the courage once completed. She's got the boots, obviously. And she's the lowest net worth on the side of Reborn. And now Lord, now down to half HP. Kufra already know Arsenal left on the board. They do manage to take the Lord down in time. So that does help quite a bit. The Grog will stick the Hylos just slightly out of range. My Reborn doing a very good job with pushing. Not only that, this huge wave from the Lord will allow them to pick up the tier 3, and this is where picking up the Lord is so important. A lot of people, you know, they get mistaken with the fact, oh, we must always go for the Lord because the Lord is such an important objective. Yes, the Lord is an important objective, but the main reason why the Lord is such an attractive objective to take is because of the two huge minion waves that you get, right? You get 2 super minion waves, and it's the waves that's actually putting a lot of pressure on opponents, because not only do they have to defend the lane with the Lord, right? If the team pushes the Lord, that's even harder for them to take the Lord down. You got 2 huge minion waves, super minion waves, mind you, pushing on the opposite sides as well, the other 2 lanes. So that does take up quite a bit of time to clear up. So this is where you see a lot of threat coming. Why, you know, teams prioritize the Lord so much? It's because of the 2 huge minion waves on top of the Lord himself. But looks like Reborn now doing very well with the split push. Kimi going up to top. You got the Granny will come in the bottom lane. And it's just a matter of time before, you know, Reborn will secure their next turret. And in this case, looks like they want to take the bottom. Ooh, they have to be very careful with the positioning right there. They already used the reverse time. And look at that, Tico Face comes out onto the back line. Nearly going down. High loss over there. The burn damage, not enough. They nearly take 2. Really close shave for the side of Nirvana. Same goes for Herphrodite on this Kimi. Who I would say nearly went down to Cicilon's bad feast. So the aerial threat of the Cicilon proving to be a little bit useful, especially at this point of the stage. 14 minutes in, you do see that 15k goal lead for the side of Nirvana, Reborn. And if I'm Nirvana at this point, you know, I'm just trying to delay as much as possible. Try to get my Bruno up on items. He did manage to pick up his Endless Battle. I'm pretty sure he's trying to go for Berserker Fury just to help with the crit damage. And proc, you know, even more crits. Especially with his passive, every time you hit, you increase your critical your chances of getting a critical hit. And I think they want to go for a pause. I'm not too sure. I'm just gonna pause here just in case you guys want to go for it. Just gonna go for the pause. I think the Xbox actually called. But yeah, I think Reborn, if they don't make too many mistakes here, they should be able to close out the game. They've already managed to complete full build onto the Kimi. Obviously, last item gonna be the Genius Wand. And then you also have the Guinevere completing the Corrosive Scythe. Not the Corrosive Scythe, but the Concentrated Energy as well as the Fleeting Time. So that's gonna help even more, you know, with the cooldown Violet Requiem. And I think, you know, if I want to give Nirvana a bit of a chance in this game, but the only way they can get into a really good team fight is if Herphrodite is caught in position, and for that to happen, Herphrodite has to stand a little bit in front, and Cicilon has to catch her with the Bat's Feast, which is, I wouldn't say a hard thing to do so, but so far, it looks like, you know, Reborn, they know their win conditions. They're just making sure that Kimi stays as far away from the fight as possible. They will take the second lot of the game this time around to Enhanced Lot. And I'm pretty sure that even if they do not win the game here with this Enhanced Lot, they will be able to secure at least another tier 3 turret. And that's only and that's counting the effect if Nirvana do not lose a team fight. Because if they lose a big team fight here, it could be GG. But I'm constantly trying to look for the huge fist crack onto the back line. We saw him down a couple. We saw Kido. She did manage to pull many insane fist crack a couple of times now. She's going for the split push. She should be able to get this bottom tier 3. That's going to help with it. While Nirvana still caught up with the Lord in the middle of the lane. Velvet looking for the right time to go with the magic time. But here they go. The fist crack comes in. Empress walks out of life. But then we lose the high loss. Last Insanity comes out for the Xbox onto the back line. But with the help of the rest of the team, they once again managed to keep Herphrodite alive. And not only that, they should be able to get a tier 3 onto the top lane. That's going to be super minions on all 3 lanes. Kimi just going to regen for a bit. Didn't really go back home. And if Lynx can get a good kill. Whoa, the damage from Lynx. They get the kill onto the Empress once again. Lynx with those long range shots. Especially with the bad impact and the Swing Green Claws. I'm not sure how much damage that was. But you know, if you're counting base damage alone, that's 500 base damage on top of it, you know, plus 160% of magic damage, magic power. And you also plus 10% of your total mana as damage. So that's really insane amount of burst onto the Diggy and one shot. And obviously his passive does allow him to increase his max mana, which in turn increases damage more. So as the later this game goes, the better it is for the Sicilian. And obviously it's better for the whole team of Nirvana as well, because you know it allows them to buy enough time to negate the lead that Reborn have. We do see the Wind of Nature already coming up onto the Bruno, which will help against the Badang when he does go in for the Fist Crack, which is the biggest threat they're facing right now. And that's excluding the Violet Raccoon coming up. And once again, they managed to bring the another Immortality charge down. Xbox coming out of the front, Kido onto the back line. They managed to get one down. A little bit greedy coming off on Kido. Empress trying to dive onto the Guinevere. Oh my goodness, the Swanging Claws will claim the life of the Diggy. And now Lynx with the strike once again. Another kill, and they managed to bring a Hermaphrodite. If they want to go for the GG push, they have to do it now. And they have one small creep still alive. Empress trying to stop him from TPing out. And Kagaya held at the second tier 2. Nirvana desperately trying to end the game before any members come alive. Well, at least they can secure tier 3. But can they go for the insane comeback coming out of here? Kagaya, the only remaining member up alive. Aerial Strike coming up. The Bad Feast will make sure Link still stays alive. Empress with the passive. And now Bruno will try to end the thing here. Kagaya, one more shot. And Kido coming up the backline. The Fist Crack. Nope, doesn't really have to pull it out. Diggy will come up as well. That's going to allow them to push those waves back. Kimi coming up in 2 seconds. And now they may pay for their greediness. Bruno caught in a bad position. No man's land. And Call Me and Empress will go down. That is really, really bad for the side of Nirvana. 40 seconds without the Bruno. But Reborn's gonna go for the safe route. Just gonna secure the Lord. And gotta say, that was a greedy play coming from Nirvana. Yes, you know, it looked like it could have been possible, but a good job coming from Kagaya to kind of delay time. But obviously you can see the damage potential of Nirvana starting to come up right now. You can see the damage, especially when they're going to these team fights. You know, Aiko with the last Insanity onto the backline. You've got, you know, Lynx with the burst coming off the Bad Impact and the Swinging Claws. Obviously you got the Bad Fist to, you know, do damage from afar and to keep him alive with the lifesteal. And he picked up Lightning 1 as well, so that's going to provide a bit of AoE damage in the team fight. Meanwhile, Kagaya trying to keep the Lord alive. Empress very isolated from the rest of the team, just trying to buy time. And time is of the essence. Velvet now coming up right in front. First one to go down, and look at that. The Fist Crack comes up. Perfect ulti from Kido. And they bring not only 2 members down, they should be able to get this Hylos. And I'm sure Aiko will not be able to run out of this. Kido will ensure that he falls. But they turn their attention down to base. And the split push, as well as the superhuman, or rather not superhuman, but the super minion waves coming out will allow Nirvana to get taken down. And that's going to be Reborn completing that 2-0 over their opponents right there. Obviously, we're going to see Reborn go into the next bracket. Congratulations to Reborn. They managed to make their way into the next half, which should be the semi-finals if I'm not wrong. Unfortunately for Nirvana, this is the end of the journey for them. I mean, they put up a tough fight. And in the second game, it did look like, you know, at some point in time, they had a slight chance with the Sicilian. I know they managed to win a very big team fight, but unfortunately for them, Kagaya was just too good of a player on the grog. Bought enough time for the members of Reborn to come up. They managed to get the kill onto Bruno as well as onto the Kufra played by Empress, and then they got the Lord and went for the final push. So that being said, congratulations Reborn, going to your first semi-finalists of the tournament. But a big GG to both teams. Like I said, well done to Nirvana. Unfortunately for them, this is the end of the journey and this tournament. Once again, a big shout out to Dreamcode Super Solid as well as Yahoo for being our partners and sponsors for this particular tournament. We'll go for a short break, but when we are back, we still have one more BO3 for you. Remember, it's gonna be both teams of Impunity going up, Impunity Pixies against Impunity Divas. So I'm really super stoked for that particular match. I want to see which Impunity team can call themselves superior, and not only that, go into the semi-finals. So at least Impunity are guaranteed a spot in the semi-finals, at least one team. With that being said, we'll go for a short break. Don't go anywhere, and we'll bring the next match to you as soon as possible.
All that matters.
Killing spree! Monster kill! Double kill! Double kill! Legendary! Double kill! Mega kill! Executed! Double kill!
If only I could be
Legendary!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FSL MLBB tournament, and this is the Myanmar tournament itself. My name is Aries, and once again, it's gonna be the second BO3 of the day, or rather of the night, depending on where you are watching. For me, it's in the night, and obviously for the COVID-19 situation, I'm practicing my due diligence to be casting from home. And big shout out to all the tournament organizers as well as the admins who are working really hard to bring you this tournament. Obviously, a big shout out to our sponsors as well as our partners, Dreamcall, Super Solid, as well as Yahoo. And not to forget, if you want to catch more news on the FSL, you can check out the circuit news update on our Facebook as well as Instagram and all our social medias, which will be in the link. But for now, looks like we've got our second match. The draft is already underway. In fact, it's already second half. Oh wow, look at how quickly it went by. We've got Impunity Pixies against Impunity Divas. So both teams from the Impunity clan, or rather the team. And then we've got Valor, Diggy, as well as Carrie already banned out. Esmeralda, you've got Grog, as well as Atlas banned out. You've got Claude.
Your team is picking.
Pretty standard pick, I would say. Krufa as well as the okay, I think the Xbox is a pretty decent pick. They ban out Divas actually ban out the Esmeralda because they don't want a counter against the Uranus. Obviously, when Uranus uses his skills, he gets the shield, and then you know Esmeralda is just gonna eat that all away for herself. So that is why you see Divas actually ban Esmeralda. Really smart ban, and maybe it could be a target ban as well. You know, both teams from Puny, I'm sure they scream against one another. They would know what heroes work against. What heroes both teams like to pick, and obviously which teams they want to ban out. But that's for now. We've got the final pick, which is going to be a Roger. I think Roger is one of those heroes that is really underrated, and we do see the occurrence of Roger coming up, especially in MPLs, because of how fast-paced it is, you know, how quickly he comes online. And you know, he's one of those heroes where you leave him alone for 5 minutes, and the next thing you know, when he comes up, he's gonna hurt so much, especially once he completes that Berserker Fury. But this is the draft for now. Xbox, Krufa, Angela, Claude, and Leomord on the side of Impunity. Pixies, whereas the Divas will pick up Selena, Arkai, Uranus, Jawhead, and Roger.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed!
So it looks like right now both teams are going to be playing the Hyper Carry Comp. Jawhead going to be in the top lane up against the Xbox. Kufa already in the jungle to make sure that no one's taking the buff. But unfortunately he will not be able to contest for the raid because Loki is there to stop him. Meanwhile, I got Nora down in the bot lane by herself going up against the Uranus, who I'm sure is gonna abuse, you know, how tanky the kid that Uranus can be. So Inori is just probably gonna split push over and over again. This time round, just gonna make sure he pushes the wave up, and I think as long as the Leomord can maintain this wave, or rather make sure that the lanes don't really damage too much in the tower, she should be doing fine. Meanwhile, Loki just gonna casually toss the Xbox up. These two players obviously trying to harass as much as possible. Meanwhile, mid lane you got Chico as well as Cuckoo gonna be clearing up the waves in the middle of the map. No team fight as of now, and Roger definitely does need that level 4. And he will get it. Actually go for the execute as well to burst damage. Oh, A flicker coming up from the archive just to make sure he stays alive. Meanwhile, Chico coming in the back line does want to catch a little bit, but too far and out of range. And looks like we've got Krufa managed to go to the back line, managed to pick up the archive, who hasn't hit level 4 yet. It's so vital that that archive hits the level 4 so that she can have, you know, her Hurricane Dance to put, you know, the Impunity Pixies out of position. Last Insanity comes up. That's going to allow them to blow the Roach up instantly. Blazing Duet will come up just to secure that kill. And obviously that's going to be a good thing for the Pixies, who want to get as much farm onto the Claude as soon as possible. Already a little bit ahead as compared to the Rogers. Very slight 300 goal lead, but you know, it is a goal lead nonetheless. But Uranus now doing a good job at pressuring that bot lane against this Leomon, and I would have loved to see him, or rather see her, push this one more wave before going back, because Leomon, you know the Leomon is gonna go back. He's been missing the lane for so long. You know, he allowed you to cut the wave. So maybe clear that wave up, you know, TP back to base, and then come back, so that you can kind of meet him halfway there. But it's fine. Both members on the bottom lane will just clear up their waves as usual. Loki is gonna pick up the sprint boots on the jaw hit just to allow him to traverse a little bit quicker across the map. Meanwhile, we might see a team fight breakout probably around here. I mean, Mama's already level 4. So she does have the Hurricane Dance, and look at that, the slow coming from Angela just to bind her. But looks like you've got the Hurricane Dance being burnt just to keep herself alive. So no Hurricane Dance and no flicker from the archive. That is going to be a big CC missing out. They will secure it. Going onto the turtle, and this time round you got Archive jumping right into the middle of the thing, but Claude is still healthy. And in fact, Claude will walk away with another kill onto the archive. The burst damage comes from the jaw hit, especially with those lock-on missiles. To pick up the X-Bolt there, 1 for 1. But that being said, you got Impunity Pixies picking up the turtle, so it is still a decent win after all.
Initiate retreat.
Gonna put the pressure on the top side, and looks like you got Divas trying to step the pressure up right now. Roger already starting to build into his first big item. Selena trying to harass that flame shot, nearly picking up good. Good trade for the Divas, who managed to pick up the tier 2 onto the top lane, while the Pixies are still knocking onto the bottom lane. Selena really rotating to the bot. Archive with Flicker still on cooldown, but he does have the Hurricane Dance, so if you can use the Leapfrog, you can definitely catch him up. They did manage to steal the blue buff. It looks like you got Pixies who's trying to do the same and mirror their opponent's movements. But now you got Blazing Duet coming on the back line. Roger already taking the Leomon out. The flame shot comes up, and looks like you got Krufa who should fall right here. Shouldn't get out by a chance. They're trying to punish this push coming in, but Claude gets stunned up by the Abyssal Arrow. And that's going to be another kill onto the Claude. They trade both the MMs, or rather only one MM, but they do trade the Uranus for that. Good trade, I would say. And Divas are starting to claw this one back. Now that goal lead that Pixies had is now neutralized, and now they want to go on to good. They didn't manage to land the Hurricane Dance into him, but more importantly, they do secure the turtle. Endless battle already up, about to be up onto the Roger, which should be the first major item that he's looking to complete. You got Angela already completing her fleeting time. Meanwhile, you got Claude just hyper farming the heck out of the map right now. You got Demon Hunter Swap, probably will go into the golden stuff ASAP. He managed to isolate in away from the rest of the team. Archive really far away. Not too sure what that Hurricane Dance was all about, but once again, that means that they can't really contest. But both the flicker of the Archive as well as the Hurricane Dance will come off cooldown at the same time. Oh, good jump coming off the Kufa, inging onto the backline Xbox to follow up with the last Insanity. But all the flickers burn, especially from Loki, and the rest of the team will get out of range. Meanwhile, Pixies trying to force the issue right now. They jump onto Mama. Once again, use the Hurricane Dance defensively. Abyssal Arrow not being able to land onto the Claude. Roger jumping in. Has to be careful about his position. Doesn't really have flicker, so he did pick up Execute, so I'm sure he's trying to go for that one shot onto the Claude. But Ruri keeping her distance away from the fight. Only looking for the right time to go into the Blazing Duet, which is the main bulk of the damage coming out. That's it. There it is. The Blazing Duet coming up from the front. They did manage to pick up the jaw hit. And not only that, Xbox already pushing up onto the top side. A little bit of overextension coming up from Divas. And although they did manage to pick up the tier 1 on the middle lane, they're probably going to lose the turtle right here. And they will also lose the top tier, or the tier 2 tower on the top lane. Meanwhile, they do manage to get one back onto the jaw hit. They do lose the Angela. Now dropping really low. Chico, skills on cooldown, has to make a run for it. Good with last Insanity, trying to stick onto the Roger. Will blow him up instantly, but now Kufa back into the fight with the Berserkers. Rather than Berserker, but the Tyrants. Revenge, and Mama once again for the up 5 times will use the Hurricane Dance to keep herself alive. Loki now looking to try to get a kill onto Good. But Nora is there to push the jaw hit away. So after all that, pretty even fight, I would say. Still a good push coming up from Impunity Pixies, because they did manage to get a tier 2 on the top lane. They got the turtle over there, and more importantly, they did manage to get the Roger. Good positioning coming up from Good, who used the last Insanity as well as the flicker combo to actually pick him up. So you can see that the side of Pixies actually have 4 members with flicker. Same goes for the Angela, just to try to keep the puppet on the string in range. She's trying to keep the Archive away, try to get the Archive to burn that Hurricane Dance, and she's been doing a absolutely good job at doing so. We have not seen an aggressive Hurricane Dance coming up from Mama, which is, I would say hindering the team fight of the Divas, because they're relying on it to put the members of position. And once for the first time, well, speak of the devil there, good Hurricane Dance to pin them down, but trouble on the other side of the map, because the Pixies are already looking to take the tier 3. They need to get that creep down, and the creep is still kept alive. Meanwhile, Inori, the implosion coming in, they will burn the immortality away from the Kufa, but they still fail to get the tier 2 despite all of that on the top side. Which means Pixies do not lose a single thing in that push.
Initiate retreat.
Next big fight gonna be happening right around the Lord's Pit right now, and it's gonna start by both teams clearing out their buffs. Cuckoo's gonna set up a couple of traps for Visions. So pause is gonna come right around. Leomod already completing that endless pattern. That's gonna help with not only cooldown, like I said, he's probably gonna build. He's already built the Blood Axe, so that's good as well. Same goes for the Xbox, which I'm sure the Xbox is gonna start building into defense, right? He doesn't really need much. In fact, what he needs at this point of time is actually the Athena shield to cope with the damage output coming off the Uranus, as well as the Selena, because those two are the heroes that's constantly gonna be trying to stay in front of Roger, try to get Roger skills on cooldown whenever Roger goes in with the Hunter Step as well as the Open Fire. I would say he's trying to keep his Wolf transformation, or rather he's trying to keep in that Wolf form at all times, right? Because he wants the loud compounds to go for the burst damage. This is why you want a huge team fight right there. Claude once again, first one to go into the fight. They managed to get Loki out. We missed the first fight, but here we go. And now we've got once again Last Insanity onto the back line. Archive will walk away alive. Krufa coming in and jumping onto the Roger. And the Blazing Duet once again coming out on cooldown. Angela's gonna be on him, so he will be able to jump onto the backline. Rui, good fight right there. Once again, kept alive by a team, and then more importantly, they get Chico down, which means the Roger is not able to join the fight for the next 29 seconds. That's gonna be an uncontested Lord for the side of Pixies. A really good fight right there. Abyssal Arrow landing onto Claude, but no follow-up action from the rest. Good job by the Krufa to stop the Hurricane Dance coming out from Mama. Inori coming in with the implosion, but not enough damage to take down anyone on the side of Pixies. RR coming in with the Tyrant's Madness. Blazing Duet once again. Uranus dropping really low. One more hit. But they will just secure that tier 2 tower in the mid lane and take away the blue buff. And at this point of time, it has been a ping pong match coming up between these two teams, right? You got a back and forth coming up, but finally with a good team fight near the Lord Speed, Impunity Pixies find themselves way ahead in terms of gold. Same goes for EXP. Joyhit now coming in with the toss. And obviously he wants to get the ejector onto the Claude. And here we go, he tosses the Roger out of position, but that's not where they want to be. Inori now coming into the back line. You've got Xbox standing right in front looking for the good ultimate right there, and here we go, coming in, Blazing Duet coming on the back line. Choco merely going down, Roger not being able to take part in the fight, and that's the bulk of the damage missing for the side of Divas. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be GG here. Congratulations to the side of Impunity Pixies. They had a decisive team fight right there. Xbox dealing all the pure damage with those flames before going in for the last Insanity, and obviously too much damage from Claude's Blazing Duet to finish the game off. So like I said, very straightforward match coming out from the side of Impunity Pixies. They did really well. I would say they for the most part they did the right thing. They were constantly trying to isolate the Roger away from the team fight, and I think the impressive thing about Impunity Pixies is how well they were doing when it came to burning that Hurricane Dance, right? You got Angela that's trying to keep the string puppet on the string rather, on the Archive at all times, trying to stun the Archive, make sure that he's not in a good position, and because of that, Archive isn't able to jump the back line, even though he has a lip, even though he has a flicker. He's constantly using those defensively even before the fight begins, and that may come down to the bad position of Mama. If she had better, I would say, positioning, she could have tried to isolate Rui, but all in all, a good team fight coming from both sides, but it is Pixies with more burst damage on the Xbox as well as the Claude to break them through. With that being said, we'll go for a short break. Remember, this is going to be a best of 3, so one more game for Divas to try to buy themselves back, and obviously one more for Pixies to try to they already 1 foot into the semi-finals, and they need that one more game to secure that spot. With that being said, let's go for a short 5 minutes break, let the teams reset and re-strategize for game number 2 between Impunity Pixies and Impunity Divas.
Download for free. Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what potentially could be our last match of the day. It's the match between Impunity Pixies against Impunity Divas. Remember, you are watching the Myanmar tournament of the FSL MLBB. This is just one-off, so there it's just to prep the players because the circuit itself has been delayed because of the COVID-19 situation. So hopefully, everything can be solved, and if the virus is I would say dealt with properly, then we can try to get the circuit as fast as possible. If you want more news, you can head on down to FSL on Facebook or even on our Instagram to find out more. But without further ado, let's just go straight into the draft. I've got news that the teams are already ready. So there we go. Coming on your screen right now, 2 teams. And remember, Pixies won the first game thanks to their Claude, and this time round it looks like we're gonna be seeing a little bit of a mirror. Pixies giving away the Claude to Divas and instead choosing to ban both the Atlas as well as the Grok. I'm pretty surprised there. No, I mean, the Pixies themselves, they should know how strong the Claude is. I think they did not switch sides. Yeah. So okay, I'm just gonna change things up for a bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna confirm for a while. I believe the score should be 1-1.
Your team is banning.
So I'm not sure what's going on. Waiting for production to get back to me. So I'm actually waiting for the production to get back to me, just to double check. So we're just gonna wait for a while. We'll wait for production to let me know if the match is going on. Okay, so we just got an update. The score is actually 1-1. So I'm not sure what's happening, but it's okay. The score is now 1-1. We've got Divas as well as Pixies. And I think the teams are actually on the opposite side. So I'm just gonna fix that. So those are actually the sides. So it looks like Pixies was actually on the blue side and then Divas was on the red. So it looks like they swap back now. Pixies and Divas obviously 1-1. So I don't think there should be a problem. So we are looking at a very, very similar draft to what we saw coming into game. Remember, this is the last match of the day. They are trying to book themselves a slot into the semi-finals. So we kind of missed out on game 2, but it's fine. At least we get to watch and witness the last match between these 2 teams, which I'm really happy. It's the first BO3 or the first game that we saw coming from the previous match. We're excited to see what the results are. The Esmeralda has been picked up to kind of deal with, I think they were prepping for the Uranus, but the Uranus was already banned out. But nevertheless, they will pick up the Esmeralda. So the Esmeralda previously was actually a target ban. I'm gonna just put it that way, which is understandable. Esmeralda now is a very strong hero. She scales really well. She's a really good fighter if you think about it. But you couple that with, if you couple that against what I think could be a jaw hit, then it's even more troubles for the side of Divas to handle. But they do pick up the Nana, which is nice. I spoke about Molina's gift as well as her passive, and the Molina Blitz, which is always a really huge amount of damage if you do not avoid it in team fights.
Welcome to Mobile Legends! 5 seconds till the enemy reaches the battlefield. Smash them! All troops deployed!
Alright, so there we have it. You know, all the confusion has been cleared. It's Pixies who's on the blue and the Divas on the red. So second game was played off stream. I think they had a little bit of a issue with the streaming wise, but don't worry, we are now back live. So this game is gonna decide who will get the second slot into the semi-finals. And obviously the winner of this match is gonna face up either against Burmese Angels or Yangon Galacticos, depending on who wins their respective matchup. And once again, a very similar drop to what we saw coming into game 1. You know, Pixies getting that Claude, and they go for the Xbox on the top side. But this time around, they are picking up the Esmeralda, the bot lane. So I like this a lot. Like, I think it's a really good draft. I think, you know, the Esmeralda will do really well, especially if you think about the fact that DG's ultimate does give the team a slight shield. The Esmeralda is just gonna eat all that shield up, and they're just gonna die even quicker. So it's something that, you know, if Divas are not too careful of, Impunity Divas are not careful with the positioning, and they do not look for the Esmeralda to try to come into the fight at, you know, in the middle of the entire team, then it could be a very, very bad team fight for them to actually take right there. But no Angela this time around, which I think it's fine. You know, they have the high loss. He's really tanky. He has the glorious pathway. But like I said, it's not that. I would say it's not that the side of Divas, they definitely have a big chance. They have the Bruno, which is still a very strong carry. This time around, they still managed to cap the Jawhead. They still have the Kufra as well as the Digi, all really strong heroes. But it really comes down to how can they gel together. We've seen them able to take team fights, especially when they had the Roger in the previous game. But that being said, when it came down to the final fight, they were just not able to handle both the Claude and the Xbox Ultimate coming up at the same time, because there's just too much burst damage, and that kind of divided the team into two when they're trying to avoid all the skills. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to do with that, especially with, you know, Falling Star Moon, another threat coming from the Esmeralda, given that they have her instead of another offlaner. So now both teams are pretty equal, which is, like I said, pretty similar to what we saw in game 1, but this time around Pixies are rotating a little bit slower as compared to their fellow team, or the clansmen. It looks like the Divas were able to secure the bottom tower. Claude now gonna be doing the same thing on top side. Meanwhile, bottom lane already pushing in, and there's nothing that this Esmeralda can do. So you can see that Divas are trying to make use of this early game pressure with both the Nana as well as the Digi to actually split push the lanes. They're trying to force their way all the way in the bottom side, and there's nothing that Esmeralda can do, because the moment the Esmeralda goes in, she's just gonna get boosted up by these three heroes who have that, you know, early game damage. And now you got Loki going into the lock on, goes up for the toss as well. Mama comes in with the Tyrant's Fury, and nothing they can do. But Blazing Duet will claim the life of Jawhead, got isolated away from the Kufra. Meanwhile, we already see Impunity Divas switching themselves into the middle of the lane, trying to get that tier 1 down the middle of the map. Ling Ying is going to come down just to make sure they can push them back. And finally, Esmeralda will get the breathing space that she needs to push the bottom wave out. So next major team fight is going to be happening right around the Turtle Pit. It looks like it is Divas who are looking to contest this. Well, Ying Ying gonna Start by stunning up against the Diggy. The Blazing Duet will come on the back line. They're trying to reach the Bruno, but she's staying out of range. But the last Insanity will come through. Blows the Diggy right up. Ruby still out of range. They're trying to get the Bruno. Gets out just in time. But now they're looking to try to buy the Xbox out. One more hit from the Nana. Should be able to claim that job. And that's a good engagement, or rather a counter engagement coming with the Divas, who despite losing out on the turtle, did manage to get a couple of kills onto Pixies. That being said, they nearly lost Chico, rather that's how it's pronounced, the Bruno. And that could have been a really bad fight. And now Mama and Cuckoo, they want to contest for the red buff. I don't think the Nana can get out, even though she has Molina's gift. That's gonna get another team kill. Diggy's trying to get the middle turret. We're able to do so. Glorious pathway to secure that kill. And they're not able to get him out. Bruno positioning. Does manage to get back just in time with this tackle. And they only lose 2 supports, but this will buy the space needed for the side of Impurity Pixies to actually push down the middle lane. Once again, another pause coming up from the side of Impunity Divas. And I think the pace has been quite slow. They haven't been able to try to push the lane as fast as they want to. Yes, they did manage to get that tier 2 tower in the bottom side, and yes, they did manage to force a tier 1, but in the process of doing so, they actually allowed the Claw to farm up on the top side. They didn't really hinder the process of they really managed to get a lot of kills on the map as well. You can see it's 5-1. They lost the turtle. There's a 2k goal lead on the side of Impunity. I would say Impunity Pixies, and I think it's really down to Claude. I think Claude is just too valuable of a hero to actually give away. You can see that when Pixies have the Claude, they farm a lot quicker, they rotate a lot faster, and when it comes down to team fights, they can blow one member up really quickly, and they also have the alternate threat of the last Insanity coming with the Xbox, which means now instead of just worrying of a hyper carry in the Claude, they also have to care about the positioning, because that flicker from the Xbox can put them in a really bad team fight at any single point in the engagement. So I think it really comes down to how are they going to make use of Nana's second skill. If they can get the stun off and blow that person up, that's a good engagement for them. However, that being said, it's tough for them, because if Kufa goes in, then it's really down to Joy to protect. So those two, I would say, side laners have to constantly protect the Bruno. Yes, you have a D, you have a Nana, but they're not tanky enough. They're not like a Camille, they're not an Asmurder, they're not Hylos, and it's just the entire lineup of Pixies heroes who have so much sustain and health that they are able to just stand in front and tank. On the contrary, Diggy and Nana, they're not as tanky. So they're going to count a lot on the Kufa to actually soak up the damage. Kufa now jumping in the back line, and he's trying to delay the Claw, but Claw can just jump right in front. Glorious pathway being laid down. They will trade both sides of the tanks, but now Blazing Duet onto the back line. Diggy with the shoe, but I mentioned about the threat of the Esmeralda, who's standing right in the middle of them. Loki's dropping really low, and the Twirling Dance is going to take him down. The Falling Star Moon will secure that kill. I don't think Inori can walk out of this. It's going to be a double kill for the Esmeralda, and if Cuckoo, she's pushing a little bit aggressively. Yes, the Esmeralda and the Camille is really low, but if Esmeralda turns the fight with her ultimate, she can actually take the Nana away in a blink of an eye. Now Claude gonna be given that blue buff by Nora, which is gonna attribute even more farm for the team. And items wise, that Claude is looking to be really scary. I mean, Jungle Sword already done. He's got the cooldown boots just to try to get that Blazing Duet as fast as possible. Try to get to clear those waves. And then he's already got that Demon Hunter Sword, so even tanky heroes like the Jawhead as well as the Hylos are not able to soak as much damage as they want. And on top of that, Digi's shield is getting taken out. It is going to go straight down, not even able to pull the ultimate right there. But now Esmeralda going in for the re-engagement, and the shield comes out. But once again, the double threat. This is just a one-sided draft as of now. But that being said, they still take down the Esmeralda despite losing the Digi. On the opposite end, you have Gugu just split pushing this wave, and they're just trading like for like. So I think that was still a decent engagement coming from Divas. They did manage to claw back a bit of goal lead. They do lose the second tier tower, but that is still space bought for the side of Divas. And Bruno's really about to complete the endless battle. If you compare that to the Claude, he's like 2k ahead, which is a little bit worrying. The Pixies are indeed doing a good job at managing this lead. Turtle getting stolen away by the Bruno. That is a huge steal, and now they want to walk out alive. That's gonna be the Digi's shield coming up. Blazing Duet onto the backline. Cuckoo getting pushed back, and Charles gonna kick her back with the ball. I think that's the only casualty, so only Inori goes down. Blazing Duet not enough this time round, and you can see the whole tide of the battle really goes in Pixie's favor when the Esmeralda is not there, mainly because of the Digi shield, right? When the Digi is trying to use his ultimate, he's basically trying to give the shield as well as the movement speed to the team, but that then that plays into the hands of the Esmeralda, who's gonna eat up all their shield, and just to make her tankier in the team fight. Now coming in the middle, Ying gonna be using the Glorious Pathway to try to initiate a bit of aggression, but no follow-up right there. Ruri is just gonna farm up the middle lane. Meanwhile, Esmeralda did manage to split push the bottom end, so that's gonna be tier 2 down for the side of Pixies. Like I said, Pixies doing an absolute good job at managing this team. And now you got Divas trying to make a slight push onto the top side. However, Xbox will be there to contain the fight, and I think this is really good for the side of Pixies. They're just dragging the side of Divas up and down the lanes. You know, that gives more farm to the Esmeralda and the Xbox because they're solo farming. The Mars will not hinder their progress. Meanwhile, you got 5 members on the side of Divas just clamping up together. You know, the Jawhead and the Kufa can't really get the EXP. It's all given to the Bruno. Yes, it's good, but Bruno is just so far behind, and the rest of the team are not benefiting from this hyper carrying because the Bruno just doesn't have enough damage in team fights as of yet. Now Ying trying to come up right in front once again, soaking up a lot of damage. Blazing Duet, and looks like Ruby will take whatever she can get. Jumps right onto the back, tries to burn Mama down, and last Insanity onto the back line will blow the Digi up. Just one more hit, but the team fight on the back, which means Chico is left abandoned, and that's gonna allow Impunity Pixies to take the Lord uncontested. I'm pretty sure they will go for the Lord, and Camille just gonna go back to lane to push the wave back. Meanwhile, Hylos gonna check those brush to make sure that the Claude and the Esmeralda can take the Lord uncontested. And the crux of the issue for Divas right now is they don't have enough AoE damage. If you look at the way Pixies draft is set up, they have so much AoE damage. You got the Esmeralda with the Falling Star Moon, you have, you know, Claude's Blazing Duet, you have Xbox Last Insanity, even Hylos and his second skill, you know, you got the Aura. It's still an AoE damage, so they have a lot of team fight potential as compared to what they can put out. And they got the Ring of Punishment. That's the skill name that I was thinking of from the Hylos, and that's just so much AoE damage on the side of Pixies as compared to Divas, who have the Jawhead, a single damage hero. You got the Bruno, which is also single damage. Yes, you have the ultimate, but you know, if Pixies position themselves with a little bit of distance in between them, then the ball is not gonna bounce. There's no damage there. They have Digi and Nana, but you know, if someone just takes the damage from the auto alarm bomb, that's also a single tower damage. Loki once again going down on the bottom lane, a single kill coming from the Xbox. I'm pretty sure he used the ultimate there, that's why it's a cooldown. Gonna pressure down to mid lane. Meanwhile, Ying gonna be soaking up the Molinas, give Mama taking a lot of damage as well. Blazing Duet once again onto the back line, toppled up by the Esmeralda's falling star mode, and Mama dropping down to half HP. They've already lacked the Diggy, which means no ultimate right there. Now good, gonna do a little bit of damage while backpedaling, and that's gonna be the super minions on bot lane. You can see they're struggling to even take down the super minion, which kind of emphasized the point of why the Lord is so important. Not only the Lord, but the super minion waves. 2 waves in fact. Yeah, pretty tanky build on the Camille, so she's kind of building into the Curse Helm, you know, the Immortality, and then she's probably gonna build into a Tina Shield, if I'm not wrong. Either that, or she can even, she's just pretty much, she can pretty much go for anything at this point, right? Because she's tanky enough, she's got sustain, you know, and whatever shield that the side of Divas put up is gonna be eaten up by the Esmeralda. She's just gonna make sure that she sticks on top of the Claude to stun anyone that tries to get onto their marksman. And she's also picked up, Ruby also did manage to pick up the Wind of Nature, which means the damage output from the jaw hit or the Bruno is not gonna affect him for at least, you know, that 2 seconds. Looks like we're gonna see the Digi finally build up the NOD for the Esmeralda, which should have been coming a long time, but finally they do have that online. Is it a little bit too little, too late? We have to see, because man, what a goal lead the Pixies have over their clansmate right now. 9k to be exact, or rather 11k to be exact. You can see this game has been one-sided so far. The only lead the Divas had in the game was because they kind of forced a push down in the bot lane, and so that gave them a little bit of a head start. But you know, knowing Claude and how quickly he farms the waves compared to Bruno kind of allows the Pixies to rotate faster. Remember, they also did manage to claim the 2 Lords in the opening stage of the game. Imagine if they did manage to pick up the 3rd turtle. Sorry, the 3rd turtle, yes. The 2 turtles did manage to propel them forward by just a bit in a very aggressive position, just trying to scout out where Divas are. And so far on the map, only the Xbox is showing in lane, which kind of gives a good indication to the Divas that their Pixies are trying to pick up the Lord. And look at how quickly the Nana bows down. They've taken him out, and now Blazing Duet is being set up. Digi over there using his ultimate Last Insanity onto the back line, brings Bruno down to half HP. But look at how far back they were chased, and now it looks like Pixies can proceed, or rather resume, to take up the Lord. And look at how quickly Cuckoo was taken out in that upper brush right here. Boy, she did not even see that coming. Now Feather of Heaven gonna come up onto the Esmeralda. It's gonna help with the basic damage output as it gets skilled with magical, or rather ability AP. Ice Dominance comes up from the high loss just to slow down the Bruno's attack speed as well as the movement of the entire team. Coming out on the side of Divas, a couple of more major items come with Divas as well. Ice Cream's one onto the Nana, and obviously we've got Bruno already completing that full set. And hopefully they get a good team fight here, because Divas, they badly need to at least take out 3 members of Pixie to have a chance in this game. But first, they need to take down this Lord, and looks like Good and Miat might have to say something about it. Camille's just standing in front. Nora gonna be taking himself. Ruby, and all 4 of them are clumped up together. That gives Esmeralda the time and space to do it. Last Insanity being used on the back line as well, getting pulled back once again. Mama trying to stand right in front of the team, trying to stop the lot from pushing right in front, but Cuckoo, one by one, they will fall, and looks like all 4 members are still alive. That's gonna be the nail in the coffin for the side of Divas, and it is Pixies that will pick up match 3 and will be your second confirmed semi-finalist right beside Reborn. So there we have it. Game 3 being completed. Once again, congratulations to Impunity Pixies. Unfortunately for Impunity Divas, they will have to watch and root for their fellow, teammates, or rather clansmates, if you put it that way, or guildmates, whichever it is, because only one team will go through. And if you look at the score right here, I mean, it's a tale of the draft, right? Even before the game began, you knew that Claude was a comfortable hero that Impunity Pixies always pick up. And yes, I think Loki did a really good job at trying to constantly toss a member of Pixies onto the backline so they can burst up, but they were just lacking so much damage. And I think it's not only the lack of damage, but I think in hindsight, if you look at the draft coming out from Pixies, they had so much AoE potential. You had Asmar the Falling Star Moon, you had Claude the Blazing Duet, you had Xbox with the Last Insanity, you had Esmeralda's Frost Moon Shield as well as the Stardust Dance, and they just had so much input. Even the Hylos and his Ring of Punishment was just too much damage to deal with. Across the board they had so much damage, and on top of that they also pick up a Camille tank, which I think was really brilliant. Like a Camille tank is something that a lot of people, rather a Camilla tank is something that a lot of people did not go for in the start because everyone decided to go for Mage. But looking at how Camilla can become a really good tank because of the Curse of Blood as well as the Blood buff, which is also increases her movement speed, it stuns the enemy, although it's only 0.6, but it's still a stun, and then you also spread out to enemy opponent because of Curse of Blood. So it's just so much AoE damage on life. In fact, every single one of them has AoE damage, and this is the reason why the draft of Pixies was just so strong. And what can I say, they just did an absolute good job in the draft. Already half the battle was won, and the second half was just to make sure that the Claude could farm up, make sure that the Asmodee could push down the wave, and every single one of the heroes, I think, on the side of Pixies just countered Divas in every imaginable way possible, right? You have the Digi with the shield, but Asmodee is gonna eat that up. You need Jawhead and Krufa to stick on top of the Bruno, but the Curse of Blood coming off the Camille, as well as Asmodee's AoE damage is just gonna wreak so much trouble if they stick onto the Bruno. And if he separates away from the team, you have the Xbox that's always looking to jump in with the flicker, and then using the Last Insanity or even Claude with his Blazing Duet to catch the Bruno out. So there's just so many avenues of arsenal that Impunity Pixies had to take down Impunity Divas, and I think that's credit to their coach as well as the players. I spoke to their manager as well, 2 different coaches, and congrats to the one that won. That being said, we will have 2 more matches tomorrow. Unfortunately, this is the end of today's stream. We have no more matches for you, but tomorrow we will be streaming one of the semi-final matches, which I'm sure is actually between Nirvana as well as Reborn against Tale of Vendetta, and then we will see who goes into the finals, and that's the one that we'll be streaming. So once again, just to remind you guys about the prize pool, in 4th and 3rd place, the teams will get 1,000 diamonds each. In 2nd place, the team will walk away with 2,000 diamonds, and then in 1st place, which is the grand prize, the team will walk away with 4,000 diamonds. So this is what the teams are fighting for. Once again, if you're interested to find out more about FSL and when the circuit will begin, we will give you guys an update as soon as it's possible. Hopefully you guys are staying home and staying safe. Big shout out to our sponsors, to Dreamcore Superstar as well as Yahoo and obviously FSL for organizing and being our official partners. My name is Aries. I had fun casting all the matches for today, but big shout out to all the admins and you guys for sticking with me throughout all the difficulties. I love you guys. I love Myanmar so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Blessed ancestors! I was saved by a Valkyrie! I guess this day ain't so bad after all!
We can't let Aurora Heart lose control.
Aye, aye, ma'am.
Lost. Aurora Heart is mine! Captain Bane, reign supreme!
Bane must be stopped. For our homeland, our ancestors, and the living, we will not stop fighting the evil. I am the daughter of Northern Vale, and I swear to protect it till my last breath.